What's going on? Welcome to my channel, Lombardi Avenue. I also have a podcast, Lombardi Avenue. You can catch that on Apple or Spotify. But in this episode, guys, I'm going to break down to you why the Green Bay Packers aren't as bad as they look. People are telling me the Packers are done. The Packers are trash. Rodgers is done. He needs to be traded. Need to fire Matt LaFleur. They need to fire Joe Barry. I've heard everything from Packers fans, from non-Packers fans. A lot of people saying the Green Bay Packers are done. This video is going to be about why the Green Bay Packers aren't as bad as they look. Pretty simple, guys. I like to look at data and not just how things appear, because you need to have some perspective. I said going into the season, and if you would follow my podcast, you would know I said the Green Bay Packers would start a little bit slow. They were not going to win 13 games this year. They were going to start slow because they needed to get these young wide receivers adept into playing the NFL game. And unfortunately, Lazard has been hurt. Randall Cobb has been hurt. Sammy Watkins has been hurt. Christian Watson can't stay healthy. Romeo Doubs is a little bit up and down. So it's been taking a little bit longer than maybe I thought. But I thought going into the Buffalo game, deep into October, into November, the Green Bay Packers would be either 500 or below 500, and that's where we are. So I'm not hitting the panic button just yet. The one loss that really got to me, that really, I think that may come back to bite us, is the Washington game. But that being said, the season is not over. The NFC is pretty weak from the middle down. You have the Eagles at 8-0, Minnesota at 6-1. Cowboys are pretty decent. I believe they're 6-2. And then in the middle, there's a muddle of teams that are 4-4, 3-5. Right now, 4-4 is the last 7 spots. So we are one game behind the 4-4. I believe the San Francisco 49ers are the last team in the playoffs if they were to start today. There is a muddle of teams that are 4-4 and 3-5 that they kind of have to leapfrog. But I'm going to break down to why the Packers aren't as bad as they look. And it's pretty simple, guys. The Packers have lost 5 games this year. Every single game they lost was to a team that was 500 or better. They lost to Washington, who was 4-4, the Jets 5-3, the Giants 6-2, and both the Vikings and the Bills are 6-1. They're losing to the good teams. We have 3 victories on the year, and of all our victories, they are against teams that are 500 or worse. We had a victory against the Pats, who are 4-4, and Tampa and the Bears, both 3-5. What does this tell you? This just tells you at this current moment, right now, the Green Bay Packers are just a 500 team. They are playing 500 football. They are 3-5 because they have a first-place schedule. They have a lot of tough games coming up as well. But I'm going to break down to what the Green Bay Packers just need to do, and it's not totally outside the realm of possibility. The Packers have 9 games remaining. Of those 9 games, they have 5 games against teams with winning records. So 4 of those games that are remaining are against teams that are below 500. So if the Packers stick to the trend of how they're playing this year, they're beating the teams below 500. That will pick us up 4 more victories on the year to put us at 7 victories. Of those 5 games against winning teams, 3 of those 5 games are at home. So if the Packers can just win their home games and beat the teams below 500, the Green Bay Packers will finish, and I predict they could easily get to this number and be 10-7 and sneak into the playoffs, because I believe 10-7 is totally enough to get into the NFC when the NFC is very weak at the bottom or in the middle. The Packers can definitely sneak into the playoffs. And to kind of give you an idea of a team last year who finished 10-7, that would have been the San Francisco 49ers. The San Francisco 49ers had to win their last game to get into the playoffs. And one thing the 49ers have, similar to what I believe the Green Bay Packers have this year, is they have a very good defense, right? And they've always had a pretty decent run game. And their biggest downside is something that the Green Bay Packers have. The Niners don't have a quarterback that can come through where I believe the Packers do. The Packers have a recipe to go into the playoffs and be dangerous because they can run the ball, control the clock, and play defense. And they have a Hall of Fame quarterback. That is a recipe of getting deep into the playoffs and winning Super Bowls. That is the recipe you need. The Green Bay Packers have not had this much talent on defense since 2010, since the last time the Green Bay Packers won the Super Bowl. And they won the Super Bowl that year with the number 2 ranked defense. Right now, the Packers stand at number 8 overall. They are 2 against the pass. They are 2 against the pass, and that just could be because teams like to run it down our throats because we are towards the bottom of the league when it comes to run defense. That definitely needs to change. I have faith that the Packers will make some adjustments. There's been talks of moving Rasul Douglas over to safety, but Darnell Savage is not making tackles. He's missing tackles, and he needs to either step it up or they need to get somebody in there who wants to plug up the run game so that the Packers don't get gouged. They have a game against Tennessee coming up, so they will get tested with Derrick Henry. But there's the reasons why I believe the Packers still have a chance. And if you're a Packer fan, I hope you still have faith. I know we are spoiled in the last 30 years. The Green Bay Packers have only had like 4 losing seasons, so we are very spoiled. I believe the Packers can turn us around. They have Aaron Rodgers. They have a good running back duo, and they play, or they at least have the talent on defense. And I believe they're underperforming at this moment in time. There are still 9 games left, and I believe the Green Bay Packers can still make the playoffs. They need to beat the Detroit Lions tomorrow. It starts then, because if they do not win that game, we got the Cowboys at home, the Titans at home, and the Eagles on the road. And this season could be over quick if they do not beat the Detroit Lions, but 1 game at a time. Let's go beat the Lions. And like always, guys, go Pack, go.